Okay, good.
How many you got on there now, Tom?
5. 4, 6. Including
Okay,
you and
we'll
I.
wait a little bit and see if there's a few more come on.
Okay. I got the files busted apart about an hour and a half ago and posted.
Okay, so you got them all posted up there. Okay, everybody on the call, make sure you go and get those files right now.
Okay. And I'll tell you what I named them. I just rebooted my computer so I don't have the usual problem of it crashing sometimes. There are 4 files up there.
I see a bunch of them that got posted at 3:58 my time, so that was probably about an hour ago.
There should have been 5.
4 or 5, yeah, I got them. I'm downloading them.
Well, I'll tell you how I broke it out, Patrick. Maybe I didn't do it right, but
The first one, the letter to the bankruptcy trustee. Then the B2 form, or the official Form 2, declaration under penalty of perjury. That was document 2. Then you had the trade name and transfer release agreement.
right.
Then there should have been another one for a cover letter for a checkmate inheritance tax claim against a bankrupt. That's the cover letter, and then the other page was the checkmate that goes with that.
Okay, I did almost that. I called the first one checkmate for Maritime trade name. 2, declaration Maritime.
I told you to do it 1, 2, 3, 4.
I did it
5.
1, 2, 3, and 4. Right.
Yeah.
And I put the 3-page transfer and release, and then I put the cover letter and the document together, the last 2 pages. So I didn't break that apart. I thought they went together.
Yeah, they're really 2 separate documents that you need to have, and basically then you modify the last one for every time you do it.
Okay.
How many on there now?
Okay. 7. They can catch up.
Okay, was everybody able to get that book about what's in your name?
Yes, I've been reading it.
Okay, everybody else, were you able to get it?
I didn't get it. Did you guys download it, or did you just buy it?
Yeah, Tom's got it downloaded on the site there.
Right.
In the link?
Tell him where it's at, Tom.
It's Cheesley, What's in Your Name .pdf. It was posted up there on the 25th.
It's just in the files, or is it in the link?
Yeah, it's in the bonds for support file. It's support folder.
About 5 meg.
Okay, that's no problem.
Actually, it was the black and white PDF was 3 meg.
Okay.
That's why I picked it instead of the color, because of the extra color takes more room. I didn't know what file it was.
That same book in the archives of a e-reader thing online.
Yes.
And it allows you to read the book before you, and then you just turn the pages. It's really cool. I don't have an e-reader, but if you go to this www.archive.org, details, and then put what is it in your name, and then 00, CHEAIALA, and the book will pop up, and you can read it online there.
Right. It's available in about 8 different formats.
Yeah, well, yeah, you'll be able to get it anyway. You might not be able to download it, but I mean, if you have an e-reader, you can download it and read it on the go.
Right. Well, I downloaded it as a PDF and put it on the Yahoo files.
I have yet to read it yet. I want to really get into that. I skipped through it, so it's good information.
Well, it's good understanding of your harmonics and where you are at in the harmonic realm of the system. Okay.
Correct.
Why you do certain things, and it has the good parts and it also has your drawbacks.
I wrote a little program that only took about 15 lines to evaluate your name to reduce it to the numbers. So I'll put it up on the concurrent divine somewhere.
Okay. Anyway, everybody needs to have those documents that I had Tom post here. He said he posted them about an hour or so ago. You need to get those downloaded, have them printed out in front of you. Okay.
Yeah, there's 4 today, plus, are you talking about the B210B also?
No.
No? Okay. I just see 4. I see 4.
Yeah, I did.
He's got 4. He should have broken them up into 5, but there's just 4. He kept the last 2 documents together as in that document.
Right.
Okay.
So I know where he's at now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I can get it. I got them all downloaded.
Okay. Everybody else, do you have them downloaded?
Yep.
Checkmate Inheritance.
Downloading it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trade name transfer and release. Checkmate Inheritance and tax claim. Declaration Maritime Corporation. And Checkmate Maritime Trade Name. Maybe that one's got 2. Let's see. No, it just has 1.
Yeah, and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll probably discuss them in the numbered order.
Oh, the second one has a bankruptcy COD in it.
The last one is a checkmate inheritance tax claim against a bankrupt. And it's got 2 pages to it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at that one first?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll look at it in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah.
Yes. Just as long as you got them downloaded, just have them printed out so you can go through them and mark them up if you want to.
All right.
Okay. Everybody else got them downloaded? Anybody?
I got them downloaded. I got to print them.
No. Okay, well, get them printed, okay? Other people there, you got them downloaded?
Just got it.
Yeah, I got him, Pat.
Okay. The lady, you're
Yes,
getting them
I have
downloaded right now?
Yes, I have them downloaded.
Okay, you got them printed out?
Printing now.
Okay. Other people just came on the call. You need to get the 5 or 4 documents that Tom posted on the site downloaded, that he posted just about an hour or so ago, downloaded and printed out. so you can sort of follow through with what I'm going to be talking about.
You got 9 people now.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. The first document is I have checkmated my Maritime Trade Name Corporation and bankrupt estate. This is going to the U.S. bankruptcy trustee, but he's a Treasury trustee also. Okay? It's not the United States trustee. This is a special bankruptcy Treasury trustee that's there, an accountant that's in the bankruptcy building. Okay, that's who the bankruptcy trustee that comes into the court. He's nothing but basically an accountant. That bankruptcy judge is nothing but an administrator. The U.S. bankruptcy courthouse is basically our bank that we need to go to. We are the creditor out here. We're not bankrupt. We have a fictional person, a bastardly bankrupt trade name corporate person, as I state in the letter. We are the owner, the creditor, and the device-e. The device that gave us, authorized us to have an inheritance from the United States of America was the Constitution. The device-ors were the founding fathers. Okay? The device is a will. When we come of age, we're supposed to have our inheritance. And it tells you in the Constitution when you are to have your full entitlement to your inheritance. The age of 25. You're supposed to be a free man. You've fulfilled all your obligations. Unless you were a draft dodger. Okay? Then you got a bad stigma in that you wouldn't help defend the country, so why should the country give you anything back? This goes all the way back into the Bible. And even further back than that. Back to Hammurabi's time frame, under the first Babylonian Empire, around the time of Cain and Abel. You have to look in the Bible, and it's all right there. But you have to be able to read between the lines and fill in the holes in the Bible. That's why it's called a holy Bible. It's because there's a lot of holes in it. Now, when we send this into the U.S. bankruptcy / Treasury trustee, that we have checkmated my Maritime Trade Name Corporation and bankrupt, we're going to be doing it along with a B2 format. Okay, it's not a real form. It's you write it up. You can see what the B2 form looks like, and you can modify that form, just like what I did. And then you also do a trade name transfer and release agreement. Attach that to this document, to this cover letter, and sent it into the bankruptcy trustee. Talked to one guy that basically, his trustee told him, bring all receipts and everything to me. And he smiled. The guy didn't fully understand what he meant.
Oops.
He thought receipts like for automobiles and stuff like that. No, the guy was trying to tell him to bring his certificate of live birth, to bring his Social Security card, to bring all those receipts that he had and give them to him, and he would get him out of the system.
Hmm.
See, people don't hear what other people are saying. They go into court, and their mind is already shut off that they're not going to hear what the judge or somebody's trying to tell them something. Judges have told us we can do this ourselves. We don't need the judge. But to do this, we have to initiate the item to the trustee. And I told you the answers are all in the dictionaries. Numerous times I've told you that. We change our name, but we change it is our trade name is what we're changing. We're not going to change our family name. Okay?
Right.
And in this trade name that we're changing, it's going to be for a private enterprise estate, not a trust. You do not make a trust because the state still has control over all trust. So you make it a private enterprise estate. The state does not have control or can't infringe upon an enterprise, an enterprising estate. Inheritance. You go into Ballantyne's dictionary, and it says right in there, in the middle part of it, shall vest in the trustee. Now, the U.S. trustee that we tried to go to before, he is with the Attorney General's office. He's the wrong trustee. We need to go to this Treasury trustee that's in the bankruptcy or in the bank. The Treasury Bank. This independent treasury that was created in the 1920s that I've talked about before. That's in the statutes at large. This trustee is the fiscal agent that we've been looking for. The Treasury fiscal agent. That is the trustee in bankruptcy. He is monitoring all actions that we do. Okay? Under that Maritime trade name corporation. Why? Because it is placing, every time we do a pawning action to create a driver's license, that's a pawn. Every time we sign a traffic ticket and create a bond, Basically, that's going against our inheritance at the Treasury. But it's not pulling those assets out. It's only putting a lien against them. Then the maritime traders, okay, this foreign trading with the enemy here, the foreign traders, they are going and writing bonds against that lien, that pawn. Now we have an inheritance tax that comes back against that because they're using our inheritance. So you go down and you see inheritance tax, a succession tax, a tax on the privilege of taking property of a decedent in accordance with law or on the right to receive property of a decedent, not a tax on decedent's privilege of disposition of his property. You could read the rest of it. Basically, that's what's going on. The main tax that the IRS is going after is income tax, and that's a tariff tax on the usage of this foreign Federal Reserve monetary system, maritime monetary system, to try and balance out some of the injustices that are in the system. But after Nixon took us off the gold standard, basically it got all out of whack. Now we're not going to be able to draw funds out of the account unless we go about it in the right way. And we haven't been doing it in the right way. We've been trying to come in and bypass the trustee. The trustee is the only one that can authorize the funds to come out of those accounts. You have a mortgage. You do a B-10 form, and you submit it in through the clerk of the court to that bankruptcy trustee. You put down the mortgage as you are the creditor, and basically the mortgage company is the debtor. The bank is the debtor. They're the ones that wrote the bonds to pay for the house in the maritime monetary system. But you have to have the help of the trustee so that he can go after them. We don't take it to any other court. We've been trying to go into all the civil courts, the state courts, and everything else. Wrong court. We got to go to the bank. Just like in the Interstate 60. Take it to the bank. But you got to take it to the right bank. You don't take it to these commercial banks. You take it to the Treasury bankruptcy bank. And you're coming in as the creditor, the owner, the creditor, and the device-e of that inheritance. You cannot claim your inheritance until you get rid of this Maritime Tradename Corporation, because they don't want to have the maritime system have access to your silver, your assets that are held in the Treasury. That's what they're trying to prevent. So right now, the only thing that these maritime guys can do in their whaling process against you, harm of whaling, is whale your assets out of your back pocket. Strip the flesh away from you. So you read over these documents, you'll see that basically I pretty much tried to address it so that if you read and you look up these words and see these were all done under a fraudulent conveyance. And then also, for all these mortgage people out here, it's a fraudulent disposition of property when the bank comes in and tries to sell it. A fraudulent disposition of property is a disposition of property with respect to which three things must occur. First, the thing disposed of must be of value, out of which the creditor could have realized all or a portion of his claim. But you've got to make the claim. Second, it must be transferred or disposed of, or by the debtor. Third, it must be done with intent to defraud. These mortgage foreclosures have all three of those items in there. But you've got to come in with your B-10 claim against that bank on the mortgage as a fraudulent disposition of the property. You've got to let the Treasury trustee know, and then he can do something. But until you let him know, he can't do anything. But to come out of the system, you do the first document there, the cover letter. You do the official Form 2 or B2 bankruptcy form that I have. Then you do the trade name transfer and release agreement between your Maritime Trade Name Corporation and your second, that's the first party, and your second party is under a newly adopted United States Admiralty trade name, and in my case, I took Godfather Divine for an American private enterprise estate as a manual barter trading enterprise. We are the father of both of those accounts. Okay? We are the owner of those accounts, corporations, enterprise, estate. We're the creditor to those. And we, to get the final one, for our inheritance, we are the device-E. So, basically, you can read through that document. It's only 3 pages, and I try to make it pretty self-explanatory. You won't have to do all the items on there if you don't have a driver's license or whatever, or if you don't have a voter registration card or a marriage certificate or military, you don't have to put those down. certificate of baptism, you're put down the church that you got baptized in. And you're going to make a claim against the foreign Church of Rome, Sesta K Trust account. And then if you, like in the Roman Catholic Church, any additional copyright, parents, liens, like what they did with communion and confirmation and marriage on that one baptismal certificate. They created additional liens against those items. So you're going to have more than somebody that didn't have all those items when they cash that out. But you can't cash it out. You've got to let the Treasury trustee go and get it for you. We don't have access to these accounts. That trustee, he's an accountant in the bankruptcy building. They've got all the computers. They can pull up everything that's on you. And then we have down below any continued usage of the bastardly trade name, okay, for the Maritime system by the commercial public bankrupts or state bar agents, okay, any court or any attorney that tries to cause you harm, you can turn around and file an infringement lien charge of like $100,000 against them using a B-10 form into the bankruptcy court. You don't need to do a UCC or anything like that. Okay?
No.
You just put it in the bankruptcy. The trustee will then take care of that. They will put a notice out to that person that there's a lien against their account. And basically it's going against their, normally their liability insurance policy. That if anybody comes in against your adopted Admiralty trade name and causes any harm, usage of it, by the public maritime corporations or the state bar agents, you can take that up to $250,000. Then you sign and date that as the owner of the first party corporation and the second party private enterprise. You can put it on, if you've got an embosser, you can put it under your seal of authority. Otherwise, you do the right, the finger thumbprint for both as the owner's signature and let it be at that. But that's what needs to be done, okay? If you want out of the system, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked this over with several other people that we've all gone through the bankruptcy system, and remember, we're trying to piece together of what exactly some of the tidbits we found out in bankruptcy court. They didn't tell us all the answers, but basically they gave us little hints. And it wasn't until we started talking this over and getting the little hints from different people, then we started putting our little hints into retrospect to build the big picture. But that's where it's at.
Mm.
Until you guys start doing that, and I've tried to tell you this before, you've got to start doing some of this stuff. But the answer's here. Now, what the hell you do with it, that's up to you. I didn't get mine in. I faxed it into the bankruptcy clerk of the court late this afternoon. So basically, I don't think that the trustee even probably had time to read it. But he'll have it tomorrow. I haven't heard anything on the 11 DG-214s that I submitted in, trying to get the silver out. But now I understand that I ain't going to get the silver out until I do this with the trustee. The only thing you can have the trustee do is set off those charges. You get a tax bill. You send it into the bankruptcy trustee. He will go against the charges that are against your account, your bankrupt account in Maritime monetary system. Not against you, your back pocket, but against your fraudulent Maritime estate, bankrupt estate that's holding assets. It's been building up. It's got over 21 years at least in there, if you're over 21 years of age, of asset buildup. You just have to go in and have them take that out. And the only way that we're going to get this, to get our real assets, is to basically terminate that original trade name and all copyrights of that trade name. And the only one that can do that is the trustee. So like Arnold Schwarzenegger as in the eraser. Mm-hmm. He will be the one to erase the items. Because once he shuts down, we shut down, and we bring this into checkmate with these documents. That's what we're doing. We're checkmating this system. Then they have to shut those items down. Then we can basically claim our lawful inheritance, our device, and grant. And see, we're the device-e, the beneficiary named in a device which in its best legal sense is a testamentary gift of real estate. Nobody for years has come in and claimed their device from the Constitution, the Treasury that's out there. That's why some of these accounts are well up in the $6 million in gold. But that's more money than you will ever spend, so you just try and get something to exist on, okay? You will get, when you terminate this, you will get an access to that Treasury account with a debit card, probably some checks that go directly to the Treasury. But you'll still be able to go through the bankruptcy court. Now, the final document that I had Tom post up there is a checkmate inheritance tax claim against a bankruptcy or a bankrupt. The one that I had referenced there, okay, I was going against Dollar General Store. It's a bankrupt corporation. They have to borrow money from somewhere to operate because they have to zero their books every year. Well, who do they borrow from? They borrow from our inheritance. So those receipts in transportation are bankruptcy receipts for inheritance tax that's owed to the United States. And we, the people, are the United States. We're the creditor and devicee. So that's why I had it written the way I did. But this, again, has to go to the Treasury, to the bankruptcy Treasury trustee to be processed. Because he's the trustee over those bankrupt corporations also. And see, that's when you turn your receipts in. You do a invoice, a checklist, or a checkoff list of all your receipts. And then it's an inheritance. And you fill out a B-10 form to claim that value. The debtor is like Dollar General Store. You are the creditor. Pretty simple, and it's for domestic support obligations. Because that's what most of your receipts are for. So then you sign and date that and send that in. You have any traffic tickets, you have any court charges, you send them in. You're the creditor. You turn around and send them into the bankruptcy trustee. But you have to either do a B-10, or if you're closing down the whole thing in the process, you do the B-2, but you have to establish a new private enterprise estate. Now, I talked to one guy yesterday, and see, I've done a homestead exemption claim against my body of land already. My physical body is a body of land.
Gotcha.
Okay? And I filed it with the auditor's office. So my body is basically exempt. It's under the homestead rule. Now, you turn around and you go in. You don't, this guy that I was talking to yesterday, he did it as a trust. And then he was putting his cars and stuff under that trust. Wrong item. Because the state can attack a trust. He found that out later. About 3 months later, when they wrote traffic tickets against the vehicle that was basically being held in trust. But if the vehicle was being held in a private enterprise estate, and you go into your county recorder's office and record that in there, then they couldn't touch that because the state cannot run competition with another enterprise. Read what it says in the dictionaries here. Private enterprise. It says state cannot touch this damn thing.
Good.
And then we basically submit these claims in against them for the inheritance tax as a COD, cash on delivery, or collect on delivery. That means as soon as it's delivered to them, they better be sending the cash back out. But see, you have to go in and terminate the initial trade name and all copyrighted trade names also. You can't leave any one out there, because basically that trade name is making additional errors for it every time you sign something like a bank account or whatever, or an insurance policy. You're making a new copyrighted error. And it's an inheritance by blood. And basically, the blood of a trade name is ink. See, you've got to think outside the box on a lot of this stuff. It's all right there in front of us, in black and white. But most people can't see things that are right in front of them. And that's what it was stated. Eyes that see but do not see. Ears that hear but do not hear. And then they only want to hear what's coming out of these wrong vibrations that are out here. So basically that's about what I've got. Read over those documents. You can turn around and basically make the modifications and put them right out into those courts in the next day or so.
Yeah.
Unless you're a chicken shit, and then basically you don't belong here anyway.
Question.
Okay, questions.
Encouraging. This is very encouraging.
Okay.
This looks simple. This looks like it's the right thing to do.
Okay. Other people, you got questions?
Yes, Elaine, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. We're faxing this in. Eventually.
No, you don't have to fax it in. You can hard copy it in. I'm going to hard copy it too. If you read the letter, I says I faxed it in, but I'm also sending in a hard copy on my fax cover sheet. But I didn't send you my fax cover sheet.
Okay.
If you have the capability, yeah, you can do it one day, and basically you're probably not going to get it in the mail that day. So basically, you send it in by fax that day. At least they've got it, and you give them a heads up. And then the next day you get it in the mail.
Okay.
Now, supposedly this should take about 5 sheets of paper, and 5 sheets of paper should be covered by a 49-cent forever stamp.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just turn around on the bottom of those envelopes and make it a certificate of mailing. Don't go to the post office to do that. You are your own post office.
Okay,
that post office doesn't record that certificate of mailing number anywhere.
Right.
But they'll charge you $1.30 to do it.
Yes, they will.
All for nothing. Because basically they ain't going to show up in court. You're the one that's going to have to come into court and attest to the fact that you did mail that.
Understood.
So we make our own certificate of mailing just like a proof of service?
No, the form is on the site. So go in there and get the form, and then just fill out the form, and then you can put a 3-cent stamp or whatever and emboss it.
Okay.
You're the postmaster.
Wait a minute, you're saying that the form to do that is on the postal site?
It's on the post office site.
Okay.
The form number, just a second, I'll tell you what the form number is.
Okay.
While you're looking at it, the recording said, the message said that the Q&A is not being recorded.
No, I
heard
hit
that.
that button accidentally. The recording is still going on.
Okay.
There's a whole area that's too
Okay, so the
sensitive.
certificate of mailing's on the postal site. I got you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's TS form 3817. And it's a very simple little form.
Okay. 3017.
There's no duplicates or anything of it. The post office doesn't keep a copy of that. They don't record that number, and you're the one that assigns the number to the envelope.
Did you say
So
T
down
like
on the bottom right-hand corner, listen to me, don't interrupt, okay?
Right.
Down on the right-hand corner, you write certificate of mailing, number, and then you assign your own number. And you write that number on your little receipt that you have and keep it.
Okay.
It's just something that basically is going to, when they get it, it's going to sort of throw a little scare factor into them. Okay?
Okay.
But you don't have to get them to sign for anything. Basically, you've got them. Okay?
Okay.
It's just like a confirmation on a fax. You have the confirmation that the fax was delivered okay on your computer. You print out that piece of paper. And that's valid in any court also.
I have a question. Is it recommended that we wait until we have all of our documents? Because I'm still waiting to get my divorce documents.
Why are you getting divorced?
Copy them.
Huh?
No, I've already been divorced. My question is, do I wait to fill this out until I receive the document? Okay, I just put down a number now and then send all the receipts later.
If you got the number, just put the number down.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the divorce really is nothing more than saying you have your dowry back. That's all that the divorce is saying.
Right.
It's a marriage certificate that is probably still hanging out there that has never been properly closed.
Yeah. So you're saying that the divorce does not close the marriage contract, basically.
You get married in one state, you get divorced in another state. Do you think that other state's going back there and telling the other state that you got divorced and take the marriage certificate off the record book? Not necessarily. You're just running around with a piece of divorce paper saying that you're divorced. But that marriage certificate is still there.
I see. All right.
Yeah, you think these guys are
question
going to
about
let
this
you...
American, the private enterprise estate?
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Say that again?
No, he was asking you. What did you say?
Okay, I wanted to know about the enterprise estate.
You set up a private enterprise estate. Read the definitions in the dictionary. It's very simple. You're going to do an enterprise, a trading enterprise. But you're going to trade in lawful currency, in barter. You're bartering a real asset now for something in exchange. You're not going to the casino and playing with monopoly money.
Right.
And that's what we've been doing. We're in the biggest casino in the world right now. You think the MGM Grand is big? Hell no. There's Church of Rome and Bank of London and the United States Corporation Casino. This is the biggest damn casinos out here. Because you're playing with monopoly money. And they're slowly whittling you away, just like any other casino does.
Patrick, what did you mean when you said you're bartering real asset for something in exchange?
You basically, when you get your assets, when you get out of the system and you get your inheritance, then you will have gold and silver sitting in the treasury, and you will go and put a claim in to the treasury to convert so much of your inheritance, gold and silver, into currency that will be asset-backed currency out here.
Okay. I thought you meant before getting out, so that's why I wasn't sure.
No, before you can't get out. You're not. What you get before that is basically going to be peanuts. You're going to be getting token money. You're going to be getting Federal Reserve dollars back, debt Federal Reserve dollars back in the process.
Right.
To say, hey, yeah, we'll give you a rebate here. Go over here to this table and play this game over here.
Okay. I got all that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in the casino, but yeah, they'll give you a rebate. Coupons and stuff like that. And that's what keeps a lot of people in the system. It's because they're getting all these coupons. Social Security, that's a damn coupon to keep you in the system. I would rather have my real shit than this damn token and having them have control over me.
Well, to clarify, if someone isn't able to get out just right yet...
You got to speak up a little.
Okay. If someone is not able to get out just right yet, if they do this enterprise estate, that would be like similar to what a lot of people are doing with the trust that you said wasn't a good idea, correct?
Yeah, well, what these other people are doing and all this other stuff is all wrong, okay?
Right. Yeah, I didn't feel comfortable about the trust. And I keep saying there's just something...
That whole trust scenario is totally wrong. We do have a trustee, but really he's operating with the title of trustee, but he's really a physical treasury agent.
Okay.
A physical agent for this independent bankruptcy treasury. That's the independent treasury that was created in the 1920s. And I posted that document up there about the independent treasury before on the group site.
Okay.
We kept thinking he was sitting over at the Federal Reserve. No, he's sitting in the bankruptcy court. That's the bank that we as the creditors have to go to.
Okay.
not the post office, none of this other place.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to come in as the creditor and put a B-10 against all of these debtors, even your checking account. For all the checks that you've written, they placed a lien against that value that you write on the line in there in longhand. That's silver dollars that they're placing a lien against. But they're only giving you a token of one Federal Reserve dollar in exchangement. So where is the other 16 Federal Reserve dollars going? That basically are being created from the bonds that they're writing as a trade acceptance at the bank with the Federal Reserve Bank. And then also the FDIC insurance agency out there that has an insurance policy over that value of $250,000. So you're the creditor. You can never really go broke.
Okay.
But they get us to act like we are the debtor, and we're not.
And what were you saying about the land? What
You're going to have to speak up a little, okay?
Sorry, I've had a little bit of a sinus.
Okay.
What did you say about the land? Your claim to your land? I didn't catch.
Okay, you do a homestead exemption after you get it paid off. Okay, and basically that if you've had a mortgage on your property for over 3 years, you have to put a B-10 claim in against that mortgage with the bankruptcy trustee, treasury trustee, and have them settle that mortgage.
Okay, I got that. I meant the one about your own body.
Oh, basically I just went in there and I made up. This was, what the hell did I do that? About 6-7 months ago? And I had that up there before. To where I went in and I did a homestead exemption claim against my own body. I talked about it on one of the talk shows or on one of these calls about 6 months ago.
I just don't recall that one.
No, and I just made up a simple document. Basically, then I signed and dated it and took it in there, and I did it under my ecclesiastical notary.
Where did you take it into?
The auditor's office,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where they tax the properties, the land.
Okay, yeah. Okay, now I do remember you saying something about that. Okay.
But was that around October, Patrick?
I don't know when it was exactly.
You have in the puts and calls directory, you have a number of files with Homestead in them.
Okay. It might have been somewhere around there.
All right.
Okay.
Around October 25th.
Okay, thank you. So that's something you would suggest to do.
No, that's something you can do if you want to do it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Get this other stuff done.
But doesn't it have something with the trademark name?
No, we don't do anything with trademark. We're doing trade name. But this is a private enterprise, so we don't have to register this trade name.
Right. Okay.
Now, the trade name that everybody should use is as a male should be Godfather.
Even the women?
And then your last name. A female should use Godmother.
Mother, yeah.
Because that's really what we are classified as, a mother and father in this process.
Mm-hmm.
And see, nobody out here is going to run around with a trade name of your last name with godmother or godfather in front of it. Yeah, but you'll see Godfather Pizza, but basically I don't think anybody's last name is Pizza. And then see, the only thing that basically the TV programs have is about the bad godfathers out here.
Mm-hmm.
The mafioso ones. You never hear anything about the good godfathers because they keep everything private.
Right, doing the opposite. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's basically what you're going to be doing. You're not going to go out there and flash, hey, I'm Godfather Divine,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not really going to be contracting anymore. You're going to be paying as you buy things. So where's the contract? You're not going to be asking for a liability on the vehicle. So what if the vehicle breaks down 6 months later? You go and buy a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you figure out what you're really paying for that vehicle, in silver, it's still only around $2,500 to $3,000 silver dollars. Yeah, convert that 25 to 3,000 silver dollars into Federal Reserve dollars at 17 to 1, and basically now you'll see where your $40,000 and $50,000 vehicles are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you stay away from all insurances. Okay? They're all operating under fraud. Insurance is the biggest destroyer of this country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not the banks. The banks are second.
Mm-hmm.
The land is your insurance because that's your mother, and your mother always gives something to her offspring. She protects her children. And even if you're 100 years old, you're still classified as a child to Mother Earth. So that's the simplest trade name to establish. And then you just go in and basically you fill out a document that you are going to record this as a private enterprise, and you take it into your county recorder's office and record it there in the land record books.
This is where it gets confusing, because anything supposedly that is recorded is turning into being part of it's going back to being part of the system, I thought. So
no,
it's only...
this is in the private records. This is a private enterprise.
Well,
so it's going in as a private recording into the recorder's office.
So you can actually put a private recording in there.
Yes.
All right. I just had that, did not have that knowledge. Okay.
Now go down and ask him. But basically, you can get the process started, and you can claim that you're adopting that name. You just haven't got it into the record books yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get this through the Treasury trustee, bankruptcy trustee, then basically you will have more backbone in when you get your assets out, that you've now claimed your inheritance. Now you are a true American landowner.
Got it.
And I've tried to tell women, you need to stand by the Book of Ruth.
Right.
You stand under the protection of your husband, your dead husband, or you revert back to your father. If you're divorced. But you're always under the protection of a man. Now, in the maritime system out here, you stand by the Book of Ruth. Who is the father, your first husband in your marriage? The state.
Mm-hmm.
For a man, the state is the mother. That's why the man normally goes to prison more so than the women do, is because the father is the one who is obligated to pay for the bastardly children. But the only way that we can pay for the bastardly children is to turn those claims into the Treasury trustee, the bankruptcy Treasury trustee, and take the funds out of the accounts that he's holding. We have to do that. That's our fatherly obligation. Until we get him out of the system and get rid of him. And then they become our Holy Ghost that basically is going to go in the back closet and we're going to close the door on him. Never to be heard of again. Okay, any other questions?
Not a question, Patrick, but I looked for an independent treasury in your folders that I have here and didn't find that, but someone did send me a file back in 2013, the 41 Stat 653 Independent Treasury, and it looks like you're highlighting in it. You want me to post that?
If it's not up there, it should be up there somewhere. I know I posted that when I had that way back.
I may have not gone that far back.
Yeah, it's probably in one of the old folders or whatever. So,
yeah.
Just like I posted the one document up there about filing forms into courts. But see, everything we're going to do now is also in admiralty. You got to make that perfectly clear. Look at those documents. I had it all noted that this action is in admiralty.
Mm-hmm. No, I've got files all the way back to 2012. July 2012 is when I started capturing them.
That should be in there somewhere.
Yeah, we see it right on the top. This
I'll post it back up in the current file.
Okay.
I really like the way you organize the documents with the whereas clauses. I think it just makes it easier for them to understand where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had to follow the path that basically they laid out. It's all right there.
Yeah.
The maritime, the shipping, all these codes that they wrote, that you don't have to go in and know what the codes all say. You have to look at what they're not saying. Like the deal about the fishing vessels, the whaling vessels, and the yachts. A fishing vessel is a farming instrument on the sea farm. A whaling yacht, we don't whale anymore, so what the hell's whaling vessels doing in there? Well, that's because that's in maritime law, and they're out there whaling us, the living person.
Right. In the melody.
That's what these vessels are doing. That's the harm that they're causing. That's the fraud in the system. The fraudulent conveyance that they never tell you about. Why do you need a certificate of live birth? You've already got a hospital birth recording on file or a Bible entry birthing recording. If you were birthed at home. So what is this other certificate of live birth? It's the creation of a bastardly child, a trade name bastardly child. You brought him to life for their benefit so that they could use him as collateral against the assets that are being held at the Treasury. And they put a heritable claim against that, our inheritance. We have to get rid of all the heritable items, and then we can go and claim our inheritance.
Question about the certificate of live birth?
Huh?
Or the
You got to
certificate
speak
of
up.
live birth.
Please.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
A little better.
Okay. The certificate of live birth, are we signing it at the back with a thumbprint, or does that even matter?
You don't sign anything yet, okay? You put this notice in, and then when they come to have you give those documents over, then you will endorse it the way they want you to.
Oh.
Okay.
We've got to stop trying to think that we know everything, because there's been so damn much misinformation out here in the process.
Agreed. That's why I'm asking. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. That we can do set-offs using those with the B10 form, like what I did with that I was trying to go after the silver, and I should have just been going after the set-off of the traffic ticket itself. And then basically for the inheritance tax that was associated with that document, which would have been just the 566 Federal Reserve dollars back in return. I was trying to go after the conversion factor of 566 silver dollars times 17. Because, see, I didn't see the inheritance tax until early this morning. They're using our inheritance, so we have to tax them. Because we are the United States of America. And we can tax them on their usage of our inheritance.
Okay, wait, I have a question.
Okay?
Are we using this for bills as well, or are we just letting them settle the bill?
Yes, all bills. You turn around and send them into the treasury. That utility company or whoever, basically they had to borrow the money from somewhere. They borrowed it against the Treasury, which is holding our inheritance in a lump sum. So we have the right to order the set-off for that as an inheritance tax set-off. That you do a B-10 form, you take the bill, then you put this checkmate in there for the set-off of that bill. In token money, okay?
Yeah.
As an inheritance tax set-off. Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question about this subject. So you said that bills, receipts, and traffic tickets, they're all in the nature of an inheritance tax?
For the bond, okay, you basically, the whole traffic ticket, you basically have them set it off, and see, they're using that as a bond against our, normally they have an appearance bond. So they're going and putting and writing commercial insurance bonds and stuff, and they've already had the driver's license, so they've already got some asset build up in a driver's license account that they owe you some inheritance tax already. So what you're doing is coming in and setting off the charges against what they owe to the Treasury as an inheritance tax, a usage tax of our inheritance there. But we're also coming in and we're going to claim the value of that appearance bond as an inheritance tax that needs to be paid to us because we appeared. We've got to get paid for our services also in their system. But see, it's all about inheritance tax. Because the inheritance tax is a usage tax upon their usage of our inheritance. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Call tonight, Tom.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. We'll get right into this. Thank you very much.
Okay. Later.
Good night.
Good night.